the growing number of Americans facing Alzheimer's disease. Gwen Ifil has our update.
As Americans age, the rate of Alzheimer's continues to climb. Roughly 5 million people in the United States suffer from the disease, representing a 10% spike over the last 5 years. A new Alzheimer's Association report finds the vast majority of these patients are elderly, but there are also as many as 500,000 people living with the disease who are under 65. For more on this and the latest in treatment, we turn to Stephen McConnell, Vice President of Advocacy and Public Policy for the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome, Mr. McConnell.
Thank you, Gwen.
So what do we know about why these numbers are increasing?
The biggest risk factor for Alzheimer's disease is age. So as the population ages, we're going to see increases in the numbers of people with Alzheimer's. Baby boomers are coming along, approaching the age of highest risk. This is a huge part of the population. We're going to see skyrocketing numbers, as many as 8 million by 2030 and 16 million by 2050. As you pointed out in the report, though, there is this sizable number of people under 65, and that's been mostly unreported in the past.
Yeah. Why is that? Is that the boomer effect as well, or is it just that that's always been there and we didn't count it?
It's mostly that we didn't count it, but it's now there in significant enough numbers that we're beginning to see it. So, you know, I think when a person at age 50 goes in to see a doctor with problems that he might think could be significant memory problems, the doctor looks for everything else. Oh, you must be depressed, or you must have marital problems, or stressed at work. And so frequently people under age 65 have a very hard time getting a diagnosis. So this is important to draw attention to this, so that people who do have significant problems get a diagnosis, get help. They're protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act, so they could be accommodated in the workforce. But this is a problem that really is going to continue to grow unless we do something about it.
Well, something else in the report caught my eye, and that it said that more people also are dying of Alzheimer's, not just suffering with it, but dying of it.
Yeah.
Why is that?
There's a cruel irony in those numbers, for sure. What we're seeing is a decline in deaths caused by heart disease, by stroke, by various forms of cancer, and at the same time a dramatic increase in Alzheimer's. Those are not unrelated. As we cure these other diseases, what's happening is people are living longer. Oh. So that's it's kind of a terrible reward, if you will, for being able to survive cancer, to then confront Alzheimer's disease.
Are there risk factors to watch for? Are you more prone to develop Alzheimer's? Anybody proven this if you suffer from heart disease, say?
The latest research is showing a close relationship between cardiovascular risk factors and Alzheimer's. So blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, cholesterol are all also risk factors for Alzheimer's. So we say, in the Alzheimer's Association, what's good for your heart is also good for your head.
You know, it's interesting, there's also the ripple effect question with Alzheimer's. Unlike a lot of diseases, it has immediate effects on people, caregivers, people in other families, and as a result on the economy.
You bet. There are 10 million people caring for that roughly 5 million people with Alzheimer's disease. Those are the ones providing direct care, putting in some 85 billion hours in that care. We know that it's very stressful. People that are caring for someone with Alzheimer's disease are more likely to have injuries caused by falling, lowered immune systems, premature death. So it's a disease that does have a ripple effect. It affects the children of a person with Alzheimer's because of the economic impact. Frequently people have to choose between care for an elderly parent and college education and so forth.
You know, periodically on this program and others, we talk about new discoveries about Alzheimer's, yet then we see a report like this and it feels like they're not really making a dent.
Well, I think it's important to, I mean, this report should really frighten us all into action. And make sure that Congress knows we need to invest in research. But there's a great deal of promise. Right now there are 9 drugs that are in the sort of last stage of clinical trial, of testing. And this summer at the Alzheimer's Association Prevention Conference, there'll be information reported from some of those drugs. And there's great hope that at least one of the 9 may show some ability to alter the course of the disease. There are treatments available to people now that are symptomatic. They make you function a little bit better, but they don't change the course of the disease.
Not a cure, but...
Not a cure, not even really altering the disease. You know, if you go off the drug, you essentially go back to where you would have been. But these new drugs could possibly alter the course of the disease, and that could have a big impact.
Is there anything you can do to prevent it? Are there steps you can take? You talked about the connection between the heart and the head that can delay at least the onset.
Well,
of
we
Alzheimer's.
don't know yet if we can prevent it, but we do know that because of these risk factors, that it may be helpful in reducing your risk of Alzheimer's disease if you watch your numbers, watch your weight. If you have diabetes, manage the diabetes, cholesterol levels, and so forth. All of those things suggest that, and exercise in particular, that if you do those, you may lower your risk. But the research is still coming in. We're still trying to figure out how much exercise, what kind of diet. But it certainly can't hurt you to exercise and to control your weight.
As a bottom line here, have we improved our understanding of Alzheimer's and dementia over the years, or are we just where we've always been on this?
We're now celebrating, if you will, it's kind of an odd term, the 100th anniversary of the discovery of Alzheimer's disease. But 85% of what we know, we've learned in the last 15 or 20 years. And so we've made enormous progress in that period of time. We understand what some of the contributing factors are. We understand a lot about the genetics. We're honing in on things that will allow us to detect the disease earlier. We can diagnose it with a good deal of accuracy. There are lots of treatments now that are being investigated. So there's great hope, but again, if we don't step up our commitment to research, Congress is sort of backing away from this now. If we can get the funding for research, we can find ways to cure this disease.
Stephen McConnell, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Gwen. Thank you.